You and I are constantly bombarded by misinformation from politicians, celebrities, and media personalities who demonize guns and gun owners. Their accounts are contrary to my experience as a responsible gun owner, a retired police officer, and a professional competitive shooter. I have listened to their lies and I've taken their punches, but I refuse to stay silent any longer because I know a lot of women who have something to say and they won in the game. They're ready to play offense with the truth.
The truth is, we all want the same thing: to protect ourselves, our families, and to be safe in our communities. The DC Project is a nationwide grassroots organization made up of women from every demographic. We come from all different walks of life, but we are united in preserving our Second Amendment rights. As we share our experiences, we push back against gun control lies and oppose those who demand our rights be restricted.
As an immigrant from Venezuela, I saw how easy it was for freedom to die. My family and I watched tyranny destroy our home. In Venezuela, the media, celebrities, and politicians repeated the same anti-gun messages until people found it normal and acceptable to give up their freedoms. The reality is, none of it is normal or acceptable. Hungry and helpless, Venezuelans are now unable to protect themselves. Now, as a proud American, I am determined to guard against the same things happening here.
We constantly hear about common sense gun control, like universal background checks, banning assault weapons, ghost guns, high-capacity magazines, and gun show loopholes. Every city that is facing massive crime waves have put these policies into place. Common sense tells me that they don't work. So why do people still believe the idea that those policies save lives? Actual common sense is holding criminals accountable, not letting them out of jail or encouraging them to be more confrontational. Common sense is not stealing the right of the American people to protect themselves. This is the message that America needs to hear.
The DC Project works to reduce firearm accidents by campaigning for education in schools. We counter the false gun control lies by testifying in hearings and meeting our legislators. We equip our friends, our families, and our communities to know the truth. Gun owners are good people.
America is a beacon of freedom. The Second Amendment is vital piece in ensuring that our kids can have a free country to grow up in. We stand with the lawmakers who support the Constitution, and we provide armor from the attacks by the gun control lobby.
Join the DC Project today. Become a member, donate, or subscribe to our newsletter for updates on how we educate, advocate, and preserve our Second Amendment rights for generations to come.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
and the home for everything Second Amendment, concealed carry, the latest gear, reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection, and it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
So, hey, everybody. I have to tell you that typically we don't tell you how the sausage is made, but if you're watching on any of the platforms that have video, we are in sepia tones. There is no doubt about it. So Rob and I are at Tommy Gun Warehouse, Rod of Iron Freedom Festival, and things were starting to get pretty active there and pretty noisy there, and we're like, we cannot go and find a corner and do the show. So we moved it to the hotel room, and let me tell you, that is not necessarily...
It's like doing it from inside of a fish.
From the inside of a fish? I was going to say we're in the closet, but it doesn't. We're not quite in the closet, but it is a little tight real estate.
It's funny, I'm on the wrong side, and I feel backwards, too.
There you go. I feel backwards. So, yeah, it is. You're on the wrong side, but I took the corner because let me tell you, we are in the corner. And
in the two-way fight, I'm on the right side, the correct side. I'm to your right, so that means that. What does that mean? You're the one that's left. You're just righter of me than I am.
Oh.
I'm about to lap myself.
Does that mean that Rob and Amanda have come out of the closet? We're not in the closet, but it sure does look like it. And I was thinking it looks like a Bonnie and Clyde picture where we're in sepia tones, but with headsets and that. It's something.
It's funny. Last week we were in Texas. It was very nice out. We were outside the hotel having a party, and yesterday it was so cold and windy that everybody's wearing all the clothes they own.
Yeah, he was like, wait, it was summer and now it's not summer. Yeah, and so one of the questions is, are we in the shower? No, but I have to tell you, I had a story. I was traveling once and I had to try to do a video for a training thing, and I couldn't get anything to work. The Wi-Fi only worked in the bathroom, so I had to take the trash can, turn it upside down, put the computer on top of it, turn things so that it didn't look like I was in the bathroom.
We would probably have more room in the shower than we
I'll tell you, we're kind of. But this is what two-way people do. Is we will figure out a way to make it work. We will overcome. And but when we say we have a portable studio, have studio, will travel, we absolutely mean it. So last week we were in Dallas. This week we're in Scranton, Pennsylvania is probably the closest town that anybody knows, and then next week we will be doing it from split locations, and Rob will be in charge. Good luck. You guys will see how that goes, and so it's just a little bit of all of that. So let's talk about the Tommy Gun Warehouse, because that was an amazing event.
It's a huge place. You could hear the machine guns going off in the background all day long, and the tent is a 4-pole
circus tent.
But yeah, it's like really a big top, and it was kind of funny because it was so cold. They had heaters blowing into the tent from all the corners.
I didn't know you could buy tent heaters, but they were plugged in, and it was that. But it was cold. It was, I think, 52 degrees at some point, and though 52 is not cold, when you're outside and the wind is blowing and it's kind of rainy, and you're outside. They had
some really good speakers at the show. Well, you were the guy telling everybody who was coming on and off. Frank Scalvo, he was running for...
Scalvo was running for state rep, right?
Right, he was I don't know if it was last year before last, anyhow. There was some dead air on the stage, so we grabbed him and pulled him up on stage and did a little show about the 2A laws and stuff like this. And every time we would say something, he would be like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
How do you know that? So Scranton, Pennsylvania definitely is the Harry Chapin 20,000 pounds of bananas Scranton. That's that will age you. For some of you folks who are who are identifying where exactly we are. And it's a little hilly, but I don't know that it's hilly enough to justify scraping that layer of bananas off. Isn't that how that song goes? You guys have to look it up. Harry Chapin's 20,000 pounds of bananas. So
one of the booths here, it was a Keystone Gun Shop. They had a display of machine guns, and it was kind of funny because one of them, it looks like one of the 50s stamped ray guns that we could buy when we were kids that shot sparks out of the end. He said it was a Danish Madsen, but
Right.
it really looked cheesy by machine gun standards.
It looked well, and machine guns, frankly, a lot of machine guns look cheesy by firearm standards. That's I think that's the part that I have missed, because when you look at machine guns, in my mind, a machine gun is big and bulky and beautiful.
Well,
and
the early ones were, and they were machined well and everything. And then when the Germans actually figured out how to do some really fine stamping during World War II, after that, everybody just started stamping everything. And some of it, the one guy was telling us grease guns cost the government $5 a piece when they were stamping them out.
Right. It was they were pretty, and they're pretty cheesy is the word, but. The one, Rob's like, the grease gun. And I looked at it and I was like, well, I don't even have to ask which one this is. Because we've all heard the term grease gun as in conjunction with machine guns. But did you really know that it looks like it's round? It's round. It looks like a caulking gun. It looks like a grease gun. It really does.
Its official designation is an M3, and it's all stamped out of steel. There's no other parts, and they're heavy as can be, but they just look like they're built like a cap gun or something.
Oh yeah, they're cheesy.
But they're pretty reliable. They just don't look it, but they seem to have run good for the last 80 years or something now. So
well, that would be good, because it looks like it worked once in 1955, and then it sat at the Union 76 station since then, and no one's touched it. Right?
Well, they had a MP-44 German, the Sturmgewehr there. It was really nice looking. That's the assault rifle that they really are talking about when they talk about assault rifles. It does have a selector switch on the side, just like a push cross bolt type, almost like a safety.
Yeah, so it just pushes in, and it's like, okay, so how do you know which is full auto and which is semi-auto?
So when he says, it says Eins for one in German, and then the other side is S, and he didn't tell us what, but that meant a lot, apparently.
Obviously, yeah. Yes, solid. I don't know. But yes, Eins. And so it was like, oh, if the E is showing, it only gives you one bullet. So it was pretty interesting.
By American standards, that means empty, right? So
right. Almost empty. Yeah, you got one. Great. No, it was pretty cool. And the cool part is that dude had on his table how many thousands of dollars.
Telling people, like some of the people I'd seen in there, and he was saying one was $45,000, the other one was like $15,000, another one was like $7,000.
No, but see, as a machine gun, I didn't know that there was any that hit in the $7,000 range.
The funny part is, it's like that Sturmgewehr, the factory magazines with the little Nazi birds stamped on them. They'll go for $500 a piece by themselves without any other the gun part or anything, just a stamped tin magazine with the correct inspection mark on it.
Okay.
You can get aftermarket mags, but it's much cooler to have real ones, apparently.
Well, yeah.
The funny part, some of my friends that were over in Iraq and Iran and all this stuff, they're saying that they would capture that stuff all the time and blow it all up. So they just didn't understand that they're $500 a piece for cheap metal magazines.
Well, they weren't, obviously, but they're not allowed to bring it back, and they're not allowed to,
a magazine, what would that be?
I don't know. Ask the airport, the TSA folks. They take exception to that.
I was talking to a guy in Texas last week, and he was saying that when he was over there, he could go to town and buy a gun and ship it home, but he couldn't. Like if he captured one, he couldn't send it home.
So he could capture one, go in town, and say, "I'm going to give you $10 for this. Give me a receipt."
I don't know. That's the thing is, he said he could go into town and buy one, and because it's like he bought one, he says it's really a nasty, cheesy looking thing, and when he described it to me, it was a Martini Henry. It was like an 1887 long lever that he had bought for I think he said it was like $25 or something in town.
So there you go. Sometimes you can have deals. You just have to sign up for the Army and be all you can be. We'll be back.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, Okay, so we are back. And when we were at the Rod of Iron Festival, we're still sort of there. It's just, it's closing down and we're here with you. So there was so much stuff going on. I have to tell you that if you have an opportunity to come to the Scranton, Pennsylvania area in the fall when they do this Rod of Iron, this God and Guns Festival, there is so many different things that you'll see.
It's a nice trip just for the colored leaves and drive through the country. And
it really is, because the leaves have started to turn, and the difference from the time we came to the time we left, those 4 days are going to make all the difference in the world in what leaf color looks like. And so it kind of, at least for us, since we have to drive, makes you stop and smell the roses a little bit, or the maple tree leaves or something like that. But no, it's that. The other part is that the folks at the Tommy Gun Warehouse, Justin Moon and his brother Sean Moon, and all the employees and all the volunteers and everybody who works so hard, they indeed work so hard, and they bring you some of the best speakers on so many different topics. And so
I was listening to Sebastian Gorka in his speech yesterday morning, and he was telling he's out there revving the crowd all up anyhow, and
with his cool, what is his background? What's his accent? Do you know?
I believe he's Hungarian.
It's just such an amazing accent. When you're talking to him in person, it's like, and he's giant size.
Yeah, he was telling about that his dad, when he was 8 years old, and they were at the beach on a holiday, he noticed his dad had some marks on his arms, and he asked him about it, and he said that was where the communists had held him in prison with the wire wrapped around his arms as they hoisted him in the air and stuff. And he says he doesn't want any part of that.
There you go.
So and then he talked about his old boss, Donald Trump, and then he talked about some different other things going on. He's a very articulate person, and some of the stuff that he talked about was just how nice it was to have a country to be free and be able to do your stuff in, and there's no place to go to after this. So if you allow it to go away, then you're stuck without a place.
There is no place, and I think that kind of was a thread.
It was some of Pastor Sean Moon also when he gave the invocation at the beginning. That was one of his things. Was he quoted Ronald Reagan in saying that the shining city on the hill, and if the light goes out, then the world goes dark. So
and I think that's probably one of the biggest themes for the Rod of Iron Festival is the fact that these are true patriots who say, "I will stand as I needed to," and they're like, "I'm gathering information, I'm talking to people, I'm volunteering, I'm working, I am."
Well, the other thing I seen was we're 31, 32 days out from the election, so they're telling everyone, when you go home, go around your neighborhood, shake your neighbor's hand, explain to them how they need to back freedom and liberty and vote accordingly.
So that you need to have selected what you perceive to be as the best candidates based on freedom, and then you need to share that information. And so that makes so much sense. So they were talking about
don't have an opinion. They don't pay enough attention.
And they say, I don't do politics.
So they're saying if you say this is a good guy, and I understand that you pay attention, I think he's a good guy too. So if you get out there, your vote may have a couple more pounds to it by bringing a couple of extra voters along.
Well, by talking to people. But the other part is that's the value of signs in your yard, is the people who know you and like you, they respect your opinion. And so if they don't have an opinion and they respect your opinion, signs in your yard of who you're going to vote for carry heft.
That too is if you have someone who's calls you all the time, who you voting for, how should I go on this or that, then the sign in the yard may sway a couple extra voters that you didn't even know you were in charge of.
Right. So if you want to see, it's on Twitch. Sebastian Gorka's recording, and all the other stuff that happened on the stage at the Rod of Iron is on Twitch.
Ambassador Keys, when he speaks,
oh my!
I mean, he could be reading you a cookbook about making apple pie, and you are so enthralled with just his
word choices,
his voice inflection, his hand motions. He can really tell you a story, and you are so into it.
I know. So here's Ambassador Alan Keyes. It's really funny because I've got the notes for the background of things, and at one point I was on the stage, I'm introducing him, and you guys all know that I am as pasty white as you can get, and my hair is fairly light colored. Ambassador Keyes is all not those things. And so there's notes for the poor lighting guys about how they have to try to adjust and shift the light so either I don't disappear, and then so Alan Keyes doesn't disappear on the stage. And so trying to figure out how do you light some people as we do this transition. I thought that was a unique thought process, because it's something I hadn't really thought about, is how do you showcase someone and how do you showcase them well? And so that was, I thought it was humorous.
That stage had
cool.
2 podiums on it, and they seemed to use the one that was up in the corner. And so they were, during the awards ceremony, they were bringing people up and giving them awards, but they kept them packed into this corner where you really couldn't see what was going on, instead of taking them to the center of the stage and doing this.
We'll learn. There's
but
stuff.
then sometimes they would get to the center of the stage and then find out that somebody turned that mic off. So that
so then we're back to the first.
They went back to the first
place on the stage.
But I mean, it all went pretty well considering. But it was just kind of little niches here and there that were
right. All of that kind of stuff. But it was pretty interesting.
We did the fashion show, and it was funny because a lot of the ladies that were coming to volunteer, and the men too, were the same ones that were here for the last couple of years, and they know more about what's going on than I do. I mean, they
so we're putting Rob. Well, when we come back, we'll give you some detail on the fashion show. We put Rob in charge. What could go wrong? Just think about that. What could go wrong with Rob in charge and me up at a microphone where I can do nothing? We'll be right back after these messages. So.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a Range Master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Writing Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Writing Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Hi, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. I wanted to let you know that the show you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. You can check out all the shows on the network by going to selfdefenseradio.net or tune in for more on Self-Defense Mondays on Karma Radio, KRMAradio.com.
Okay, so let's see. We've got a question. You've been to GRPC, you've been to SHOT Show Media Day, you've been to a typical gun show. Where does Rod of Iron fall into that spectrum? Okay, it is not a gun show. It is not SHOT Show.
This is a freedom festival, and but it has all kinds of speakers from all over coming here.
So it's
and the fact that Tommy Gun's holding it, that's a bonus points for us.
So it's
in our neighborhood.
Well, it's a cross to me between a fair and festival with fair food, and vendors and that kind of thing, and then GRPC with educational speakers and stuff going on the stage.
You have to go to because that's part of your job, and some of it you go to because you like going to it, and so. We've been here for a couple of years, I think, since it started.
We've been here since it started, so
we like it, and it's funny when we get here. A lot of people know who we are. It's like we've been friends for years, and so it's kind of.
So Rob gets hugged and patted on his head, and
it's comical to watch it go. When we were in GRPC in Texas the other day, everybody would meet in the restaurant bar area, or they would be outside and smoking cigars or whatever, and that's the best part of the show. It's not the presentation, it's when you get a chance one-on-one to hear funny stories from all of these people. So there's 50-60 people sitting in a room telling you little stories that you're not going to hear anywhere else. And it's like here the other day or yesterday, we were sitting in the lobby, and it was Amanda, myself, and Alan
Gottlieb, Mark Walters, and Justin Moon, and Charlie
Cook. And it was we were sitting there just talking about every kind of different thing, whether it was court cases, military trucks.
So think about the fact that you get to talk philosophy of business with Alan Gottlieb, Mark Walters, and Justin Moon. Charlie's like, I got nothing. I'm soaking it in.
We're hearing about logos and how and all that kind of different things, and some of the paperwork necessary to keep Tommy Gun running, and other things about court cases and how some of them work, and if you got standing or not. And
so now one of the things that was asked was, so no guns. No, there's guns here. And so one, they encourage open carry. Two, there's different places that are showcasing the guns that they've got. And then there's like Friends of NRA guns and raffle guns and and displayed guns, and the whole Tommy gun store.
And people bring guns for me to look at.
So Rob does the appraisal.
So they'll come in and with all kinds of weird stuff, and
then there you can ride the golf carts back to the range, and you can shoot all kinds of stuff that is their stuff.
Right.
And so that's kind of like that SHOT Show Media Day,
and that's what
tied to it too.
Justin Moon was saying is that you can't make a new machine gun to sell to somebody, but he can build them and they can shoot them on the range. And so if you want to get to shoot an M16 or a Tommy gun or something like this, then he's got them here. You can.
So on play day, you can do that. Then they had like $40,000 worth of fireworks. So the fireworks were up close and personal, and they were quality, city grade.
He also had a Hummer with the bulletproof windows and a turret on the roof with the M2
with the machine gun on top. Let's just say that's pretty bad. It just is. There's some words I'm not allowed to say, but man, that gets funny. The bumper sticker
because they come and had to get Amanda because she had blocked it in. They couldn't get it out of
my car. My car was in the way, but okay. But so you know, we all watched that show where they called the guy BA for a reason. This would be what that car is. You know, it's just pretty amazing. But I think that this is a lower key educational opportunity to talk to patriots who are concerned about the country. If they're on the schedule, you can actually come right up to them, talk to them. It's not like they're somewhere. It's so busy that they don't have time for you. Right.
So there's a lot of time that you can get when they're not on the stage, and you can ask them questions. You can get autographs. You can do all kinds of different things face to face with them.
You can, yeah. So the one girl was like Fran. Her job was to be the concierge, if you will, for Sebastian Gorka. And she's like, "This is the best job in the world." It was great, but no, it's kind of cool. Well, what was really funny is Sebastian Gorka comes in and he's like, "Well, you know, I see that you've made a couple Trump guns, and how did they do?" And Justin's talking to Sebastian, and he's like, "Oh, they did pretty good." And he's like, "Well, I think that you need to make a MAGA Magnum." And so little notebooks came out, things were written down, and it was like, you heard it here, folks. That's the first place, but that sounded like it was headed there. So the Route of Iron, I don't believe it's held on a special date for any reason. It's just like the second weekend in October. And I don't know why they picked it. I really don't. But the weather has not been ugly. This year, fall came a little faster than normal.
And they have an on-site gun shop that is pretty spectacular too. If you just want to come up and see, we've actually bought stuff and had it just shipped to our local FFL. It worked out well for us.
We did. We'll just say,
yeah, come on up, folks, and bring your credit card. You're gonna need it.
You're gonna need it. There's been times when we've done some. He's like, we went this time and we did not go in the gun shop, and he's like, why didn't you go in the gun shop? And I'm like,
that I spent money. Financially,
it is. I'm at risk, right? So financially, I'm at risk, and my. My willpower is low, and
or low or no, one of the two.
Right, there is no willpower right now, so it would be. Look at that! I have to have one of those. They had an auction on those.
I think you could get like a bunch of those 50-round drums for your Tommy gun and then sew yourself up with jackets so it looked like bulletproof vest with
there you go.
900 pounds of ammo on you.
They donated to the Friends of NRA a series of the AR pistols. And so those were going for auction, and I'm like, keep your hand down, just keep your hand down, step away, do not.
They actually went at a very good price.
I know.
If somebody was looking at that kind of stuff, that's the thing is if you're thinking about buying a gun, it helps out their NRA, Friends of NRA local chapter, and usually it goes much cheaper than any other place I've ever been to. That
yeah. So my producer wants to know if being nationally syndicated doesn't that make me a multimillionaire? Yeah, right.
You spent a multi-million getting here, but
it's just, the video producer knows what's inside the sausage and how it all works. So he's just yanking my chain on TV, we'll just say. So speaking of TV, this show is available to watch in a couple different platforms. So you can hear it on radio as a nationally syndicated radio show. You can also hear it on podcast with our podcaster, and we're with Libsyn. Then, additional to that, we are on YouTube and on Facebook, and we're on a on-demand TV channel called OpsLens. And OpsLens is available on Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick, and so you can see Rob and I sitting in the corner in the beige room.
Oh, it's an exciting show too.
Your beard is very beige to the shirt that's very beige to the wall that's very beige.
It gets rid of all the gray in my beard.
It's gone. It's beige now. You are one color, sepia tone. It's just funny. I would believe that part of this has to do with the fact that we have beige lights.
Yeah, I'm the chameleon.
Cuckoo. Oh wait, no, that's not how that goes. Okay, got it.
That's a walrus. They don't change colors.
I crack myself up when I make fun of you. I really do. So one of the guys that was at this event was talking. Well, you'll get to see it, and I don't know when, but you'll get to see it. His name is Frank Scavo, and Frank Scavo was a state rep, and he was in D.C. on January 6th, and
then he was in prison for 60 days for being in D.C. on January 6th.
Yes, so he says he was in the crowd. The crowd got shoved into the Capitol, and he was in the Capitol for a couple minutes.
He said they pretty much didn't have no choice but to go in the Capitol because they were shooting tear gas in behind him.
And the crowd was moving, and there was one direction, and that was it. But he'll tell the whole entire story to Charlie Cook in Riding Shotgun with Charlie. So I asked Charlie, how did it go? He said, I said, hello, Frank. And then 45 minutes later, I said, thanks, Frank. So, so I think he's implying that Frank filled up all the time in the middle, filling him in on exactly what was going on there. just saying.
Well, last year we had met the guy who ran a show, security guard training.
Yes, his last name is Haying.
And he does like driving, custom. Teaches you how to be
he runs a driving. He runs a driving school. Charlie wants to go on it. I want to go on it, and you're like,
I'm not so excited about.
Can you imagine they're gonna teach you evasive driving maneuvers and getting the most out of your car?
I drive a Ford Ranger that barely goes 40 miles an hour. I don't know why.
You're already getting the most out of your car.
Just nail of their car.
Yeah, your car. Well, it's got vintage license plates for a reason, and it moves like a Model A. So there is that. So, folks, we'll be back right after this. We'll fill you in more on what our weekend looked like.
Honest citizens like you protect themselves every day. We talk about it every week on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Were these gun owners lucky, or did they have a plan? How should we defend the people we love? We discuss recent examples on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Put us in your pocket.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Sefcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, so we are back talking all of the stuff that happened at the Tommy Gun Warehouse. One of the things is we were talking a little bit about that military vehicle that they had there with the machine gun on the top. And they were talking about it in a couple different ways. And one of them is if it has a military VIN number, they have a hard time insuring it. How does the U.S. government insure their vehicles, or once they buy it, they don't?
They're self-insured. They don't care. You crash into their stuff, it's your fault anyhow.
So is it that, or they just are like, okay, I bought it?
Well, the thing is they have a VIN number. They just don't have the standard VIN number that your modern car would have. And I mean, if you look at most antique cars, same way. My Studebaker's got like an 11, a W, and then the 5-digit number that whichever sequence it was in and coming off the line. And then modern car in that code tells you the year it was built, what model it is, what factory it came from, and every other thing, what engine's in the car and stuff. So there's just a lot of numbers that you don't really need to know.
But with the military, I guess you have to.
I think it's a lot of it, though. You have to look at, you need to find a collector car insurance or something that understands that what you have, because some of that stuff is not as easily replaceable as you would expect. I mean, it's the government's got a lot of them, but they don't release them to the general public because they don't want you to have an armored car or something that's explosion proof or floats or
I didn't ask the question, how did they get it? Yeah,
Oh, they're
I
out
know.
there. If you got money, they're out there. You just got to have.
You just gotta have. Yeah, there you go. It's kind of.
You can get anything you want if you got enough money.
Can you imagine going and taking the presidential protections class, driving class, with the Humvee that's got all the armor and the machine gun?
It was funny because we were talking to that guy with the bodyguard school and the driving school and stuff like this, and he was saying that there's they have like a calculation for how much the car can take G-force wise and stuff like this. And if your car doesn't fit into that classification, say it's modified with armor or something like that, they have a circle they put out there, and they run the car around the circle until it loses control. And then at that speed, that every 2 miles an hour, they move it up. Then once it loses control, then they have the number that they need, and they can calculate what it can do. And then they try to keep you inside of like 80% of what the vehicle can do. Very, very few cars or drivers can handle 100% of what the machine's capable of. And so it was very interesting. I'm like, well, how does this affect, like, if you're buying tires or brake shoes or any of this stuff? And he says all that stuff plays a part in it if you're serious about what you're doing.
Yeah. Most of us are like, don't speed.
I want the cheap stuff.
I'm just sticking right here. But it's just interesting to watch and figure out each one of these people and their little niche when it comes to personal defense, personal safety, and safety for other people.
Right. It's funny that he's just out there walking around in the crowd, and when you start talking to him, you could talk for hours about interesting stuff. We had him on the show. I don't know if it was last year or year before last.
Maybe.
We'll have to get him back on because it was pretty interesting stuff.
He is an interesting guy, and there's so much to learn.
Talk him into giving you a freebie class of how to.
Can you imagine if we just did a thing, and because I'm making you go.
Oh boy!
I'm just saying you're gonna have
to. Scary enough driving. I'm like Mr. Magoo behind the wheel.
There is a spot. I do.
For all you folks who don't know who Mr. Magoo is, you might want to look him up.
It's bad.
He's a cartoon character from the '60s that was blind and didn't pay attention.
And that is my world. That is my sidekick.
Quincy Magoo. That's me.
That's it. I didn't know he was Quincy.
That's what his name was.
Oh, I thought it was Mr. Okay. It didn't. There's so many people like that where it's like, oh, you have a first name? I was, where you're taught as a kid, call them Mr. This or Miss This. And it's like, and then they say, is it this one or that one? I don't know, Mr. Mr. That was his name. That's all we ever called him. What was it? Somebody the other day, their kid is going to school, and socially, their kid knows the teacher. So they said, I'm going to go to school, and I'm going to ask the teacher if I can call her Rhonda. And she came home and said, Miss Stretton said no. So from that point on, she wasn't allowed to. She's not Rhonda. No more. Just not Rhonda. So there's a spot where
when we were kids, the old man down the street, his name was McPete, Mr. McPete. I don't know what his real name was, but
Mr.
But anyhow, one of the kids called him Mr. Pete instead of Mr. McPete, and so that name stuck. So everybody just called him Mr. Pete.
Mr. Pete, McPete. So his first name wasn't Pete, but everybody thought it was Pete. I don't know. Sometimes that stuff sticks, and it's pretty funny. But
it was funny. I'm watching this display. Everybody's up talking and stuff, and they're very serious, and they're doing. It's kind of dry, how old people are. And
wait. I was up on that stage.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay.
So then Diana Muller comes up on the stage, and they're like, try to jazz it up a little bit. So she starts with trying to get all these old people to do a chant. So she gets them to do an USA, and she's stomping her feet and like a cheerleader. Then later on, she's doing some
hi ho,
no.
gun-free zones have got to go.
Yeah, and everybody in the whole town is hollering and jumping around. It was really funny, but
And she's like practically doing jumping jacks in her little teal for 2A shoes on the stage with the hi ho. Well, I have to say that she lifted that from Susan Myers out of Missouri.
I think she actually gave credit on stage for that, but it was just funny that she was she got him to do the USA first, and I think there was something else in the middle, and then the hi ho thing, but it was everybody else went back to sleep after she got off the stage.
But she did a good job. I mean, that was so. Di came in, and so Diana Moeller got to talk about the DC project a little bit, and that too is on Twitch. So
what was the thing? She would come on. She did a chant, then she started talking about her stuff, and then she would do another chant, and then she would switch topics to something else, and then she at the end was the hi ho thing, and everybody in the whole place is doing it. So she had the most energy of the whole day.
That's we'll give her points for that. We'll call her and tell her, because she's headed back to she's not in Kansas anymore. Yeah, so George Geller says that we need the DC Project, Second Amendment Foundation, and similar groups to succeed so our kids and grandkids can grow up in a free country. And I'll tell you, that's exactly what this Rod of Iron Festival is about, is everybody fighting in their own lane, in their own way for the good stuff that is happening. So GOA had a booth here, NRA had a booth here, Second Amendment Foundation had sent Alan Gottlieb in, and they're all talking about what they're doing and how they're doing it, and what the arguments, what the fights look like, and what's going to happen with Bruin next, and what's going to happen in these court cases.
There was some local vendors that were selling like clothing that had a AR-15 pattern camo. So
they called it the King's camo. The King. So, but it was pretty cool. So when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the Alan Gottlieb panel, because I think it was pretty good. It really was pretty good. I can't see the clock, so we're going to run down to the music and see where we're at. Okay, that's not the right clock. Oh, there we go. That's still not right. Okay, so sometimes this radio thing runs on a clock, guys, and so you need to know exactly when to stop, because then the commercial starts. But we're finishing hour number 1, and we will wrap this up. We will be back with hour number 2. Talk more.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women, who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Shooter standby.
You hit the radio bullseye. And the home for everything Second Amendment, concealed carry, the latest gear, reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection, and it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
Okay, welcome to Hour 2. I was just reminded that I have teased 2 stories in the last hour that said that I was going to cover them, and then we never got back to them. So what kind of a sidekick are you that you don't even notice?
I don't pay no attention to you.
Yeah, well, there you go. So that would be the answer to the I let Rob have control of the fashion show, and I was on the mic announcing what was going on, and it's a little bit disconcerting.
As they got like all this stuff they can put on, pick up, whatever. She's like, as they pick this up, write it down what they have, and then hand it up, and then we'll talk about it as it come on stage.
So it's kind of we brought all kinds of concealed carry items, and so instead of trying to on a big official concealed carry fashion show, we assign the stuff and work with the models on their clothing and all this. Here, this
book and everything that goes by. This here was kind of a free for all. So she's like, write it all down in order and hand me these stack of cards, and then we'll just. And I'm like, that's not going to work. So we decided that I would just have them write it down and then hand it to them as they went up on the stage.
So it was like, okay, I need to know what they're wearing so I can talk about it. I don't need any more information about it, except for what it is, so that I can identify where they're carrying it and all this, and then I can talk about it. But it was in some cases, the one came up and was like, I don't have a card, and then Charlie said, you don't have a card, and then they said, oh, it's in my pocket. So it's one guy with one card, and he loses it from the time he walks from you to us.
Well, and it's funny, there's some of them that have been doing that show for like 4 years, so they know what's going on, and other ones are brand new. They're just friends of friends that brought them with them, and so all of a sudden they get up to go on the stage, and then
they're like, I don't want to go.
Right,
I'm not going.
So they back up and let the next guy through, and then they get up there. They're going to be the next, and all of a sudden they back up and let the next guy through. So finally you have to push them up on the stage. So.
You're like, you don't have a choice because we're going through rotation number 2, and you haven't finished rotation number 1. So
the one guy had last year, he had brought a tuxedo, and he looked really good in it, and so he was like kind of like John Bianchi in his old days of where he could hide 7 or 8 guns inside of his suit. So this time he came with a new pearly white tuxedo.
With a pearly white tuxedo, and so he's trying to get everything adjusted onto his pearly white tuxedo. And the first incident happens when he finds out that they hadn't yet hemmed his pants. He's like, oh, they were supposed to. They didn't. So he's like, okay, so now I can't wear these pants. So we're in the back, and he's like, well, what am I going to do? Well, you brought a second tuxedo. Like, everybody's got 2, but, well, I digress. Right? And so, but, I mean, he just looks so good. So he puts on the black pants, and the rest of his white tuxedo. So he gets up on stage, and Charlie's so proud of himself because he's going to say, look at that. The man is dressed to the 9s and the 45s and the 38s, right? And he goes to do that. And about this time he says, look at him. He's dressed to the 9s. Rom starts to turn and goes to unbutton a button, and it flies off of his brand new tuxedo and across the stage. So now Charlie's like mid-pun, and there's no place to go from there. Rob's chasing his buttons, and the audience is wondering where the gun is. Right? It was slightly amusing.
Button, who got the button?
Exactly. So he's going to have to go back and talk to his tuxedo people.
And it's funny because I mean, down and when you're looking at it from the floor, it looks pretty smooth. Everything goes in the back. It's flying to pieces. Nobody knows. They're having a great time doing it. They really aren't sure who's first, second, third, fourth, fifth. They just as soon as they can find their stuff, they dress and jump out there.
Get back in line. It was
ones are like, can we go together? I'm like, I don't care. Go ahead.
There was, because we're doing the prep in advance, and I mean, and we've got stuff that is, we've got high end stuff, we've got budget stuff, we've got a little bit of all of that. So, concealed carry leggings and bra holsters, and one of the bags that we've got. If Rob is in the show, I have Rob carry it, and it is a leather. It's a leather man purse that you can carry your laptop in, all of this kind of stuff. And so there's one of the brand new models, and I was like, okay, well, if you'd like to, I'd like this bag to go out onto the show. And he's like, no, right? You want me to? The look at it, he didn't say it. But the look in his eyes was, you want me to carry a purse? Right? And I was like, no, it's a satchel. He's like, no. So I go up on stage, and then the next thing I know, here he comes with his satchel. So he either changed his mind or his wife changed his mind. I'm not sure.
It's funny, like, we're about 3/4 of the way through the show, my wife texts me, what's going on? I'm like, I'm herding cats. And so I sent her a picture of everybody in line waiting to get up on the stage.
I'm in the middle of this, but it's cool because the audience is encouraged to look to see what they can't see. Can they, when the models come up there, can they pick out where the concealed carry item is? And so,
so they go up dressed, they do a couple of turns, do stuff, and then they reveal where the gun is hidden. They all have a blue gun that they're carrying, and then they come down quick, strip that off, switch clothes, and jump into the next outfit, and out they go again. Sometimes it's 2, depending on how many people we have, 2 rotations. Sometimes it's 3. Some people like to do it so much they try to get in as many times as they can,
because they're having an absolute great time, And so it's funny watching them, and so. And some of these we've had on.
The one lady, Gaia, she had actually brought some a new vest that she had bought that had fringe on it and stuff. And so we had a purse that had fringe, so she was all fringed out. So we looked really well together, though.
So we added the fringe to it. She's like, "Is this too much fringe?" And I was like, "You can't have too much fringe to go with a cowboy hat. You're good." So she was decidedly all fringe. Don't stand next to the fan. You'll get sucked in. But other than that, life is good with that. So, yeah, I mean, satchels are a good thing, too. I mean, I don't think that they look feminine.
The funny part is
a messenger bag.
And we went from those belly bag things that they were wearing to now a lot of people carry backpacks, or they have these, what's that, one that looks like a holster that hooks to your leg.
Oh, the UUB bag, yeah.
Right, so they're wearing that kind of stuff. So if you have a briefcase or a leather bag or a cloth bag that you carry all your stuff in, it gives you a chance to carry a lot more junk with you at one time.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, so they used to call it a possible bag, and you could put anything possible in there.
You just have to make sure that you don't set it down and walk off with it, so walk off from it, and somebody else will pick it up.
That's exactly the same issue.
It's possible somebody else's bag.
It's going to be possible, but dude, that is the issue that women have, and that is the issue that is a big conversation about concealed carry in a purse, even if it's a MERS. It's about the fact that you are responsible for it and your gun for as long as you can.
People,
as long as if you put a gun in it, you've got to stay responsible for it.
Thing that people complain about the fact that if you're not on body carrying, that you take a chance on the you stepping away from the gun or not, but you still have it closer to you than if you left it in the car or at home or something. So
you're responsible for its safety, but at the same time, it's still closer. So these people who are adamant that say, no purse carry.
Well, think about it.
It's like,
it's not a quick draw competition. You're not going out there like the movie Quick and the Dead. You out there doing your thing, and somebody may try to do something. If you're not the first guy that he picked out, you possibly have a chance to rebut his argument. But if you're
Right.
the first one that he chose to pick on,
And in a lot of cases, the hair on the back of your neck tells you that you need to get to your gun, put your hand on your gun, and prepare yourself. It doesn't lie to you. It really doesn't
you
lie
just
to
got to
you.
learn to pay attention to it.
Bingo. So
It's like having a little dog that yaps all the time, and knowing when the yap is just to annoy you, or when to tell you that the neighbor's taking your car for a spin.
my little dog has different voices. And he will speak in a different voice, and he'll be like, "Hey, there's this stranger danger," right? He will tell me, as opposed to the squirrel, because we have the squirrel conversation. We'll be back right after this. Stay tuned.
Honest citizens like you protect themselves every day. We talk about it every week on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Were these gun owners lucky, or did they have a plan? How should we defend the people we love? We discuss recent examples on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Put us in your pocket.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Hi, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. I wanted to let you know that the show you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. You can check out all the shows on the network by going to selfdefenseradio.net or tune in for more on Self-Defense Mondays on Karma Radio, krmaradio.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Sefcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, we're back. So while we're sitting here on a commercial break, Rob is scanning social media. He's found himself a new
Halloween costume.
Yeah, well, no, a sign for the yard. This is go on, go away, get. So wait, I'm trying to read this. Timothy Knight says, did you attempt to get on the NRA Board of Directors ballot by members petition nomination? If not, why? As a member, I'm interested in your answer. Did I attempt to get on the NRA Board of Directors ballot members by petition?
You were talking about getting a petition where you have to have 500 signatures or whatever.
So I did not. I made an attempt by submitting my paperwork to the nominating committee for consideration. And because what I found out is just trying to work the timing with the big events because of how many NRA members that you need to get for signatures. It didn't fit into the schedule that I had going and trying to work on retirement and moving around. So I thought I would throw one more time in through the nominating committee to see. And they did accept my packet, my information. And so I will be on the ballot in February, the February edition of the NRA magazines.
So in this big horse race, everybody can put $2 on your nose and see if you win, huh?
There's no dollars going. It's totally. There's not even a Las Vegas bet on this. No, that's not how that works, right? Not at all. But how it does work is that there are a series of people that the nominating committee has nominated, and then there are a series of people who can get on the ballot by petition. And since I've not done it, I don't know exactly what the rules are, but I know enough to know that it is a percentage of the people who voted in the last year's election. And that number is some magic number that they share with you right after.
I would imagine if they vote for you, they're going to pick a winner because you're not going to let them all just sit around doing nothing as they've been doing. So you're going to go poke them all with a stick.
Do I let you sit around doing nothing?
So you're going to poke them all with a stick till you get them all moving in the right direction.
There is that one meme where it's like with a stick and it says, go ahead, do something. Do something, right? That's what he's alluding to is that meme. But, no, honestly, I looked it up. The NRA's been around for more than 150 years. I had thought it was more than that.
1871 they incorporated.
Okay, so I thought it was more than that. But, okay, so it's 150 years.
Well, it was part of the generals on that from the Civil War realized that they were losing the country people who carried a gun every day due to the fact that there was a lot of inner cities
were coming.
Right, and so when they realized that at the Civil War time that they would get these people from the city and they had no idea how to shoot a gun or any of that stuff, so they brought the NRA on board to try to teach these people marksmanship and some of the different things, so that it gave them a reason to go out and shoot and that. So it was originally to help the military with their training programs.
Well, I think that there's a variety of things. And so I have no idea why in my head it had stuck that I thought it was 170 years, but I think it was the 1871 number that was stuck in my head. So I'm looking at it going, look, kids, this organization's been there 150 years. We can't screw it up on our watch. It can't go away on our watch, and we can't let the liberals win. It is the largest Second Amendment organization. So you look at that, and it's like, why the NRA? Well, that would be the reason why. My grandfather was a life member. You've been a life member since
It's got a lot
we were
of
kids.
It's got a lot of things going on, and originally, I mean, when I started back in the '60s, it was mainly aimed at marksmanship, and they would show Camp Perry and the military shooting stuff, and that the magazine was a real dry magazine about how to modify your rifle or do something, or some of the shooting matches and stuff like this. The magazine today is so much better because it has all kinds of different things in it. But their focus has always been about shooting and marksmanship and that. And so it was in the 70s sometimes they started to stick their nose into politics a little bit. Even in the 60s, they had wrote letters in their magazine about, I mean, I have magazines from 61 where they were talking about the Gun Control Act that's going to be coming. They didn't know when, but the congressmen and senators at that time were working on some. So that was pre-Kennedy being killed. They still were sure that we were going to get some kind of gun control. It really took them until 1968 before they actually passed any of that stuff. And so it was in the works. And like we have been talking in the past, a lot of this stuff is they have big goals, and then they were able to negotiate down. So what you got in the way of a gun control act is half or less of what they wanted to have.
But in the history, then when you look at history, they were like, well, the NRA, backed this or allowed that. And it's like,
they sold us out and they allowed this or that. But it was always about compromise. We never said no altogether. I mean, just recently we've started saying no. Up until then, it was always about compromise. They would say, well, we want this. And it would say, well, how about we just give you this instead?
Let's slice it off.
And so we would always lose something, a little bit here and there.
And so we've got to have people that see that and fight for it. And, and I'm not going to be absolute, because I think that there's times for compromise and there's times when you say no, and that's not happening.
The thing is the NRA for a long time had said they had 5 million members or 7 million
they're
members.
Just not going to tell you the number.
But they're not going to say now. But the thing about it, the husband has a membership, and then the wife she's reads a magazine or something.
In my family, the wife has the membership, and the husband is the right along.
Some families where the wife has one, the husband has one, and all the children have one.
Great.
Other families,
they're not.
One guy.
They're not of Scottish ancestry. Squeak.
Right, but some of them are one member, and the rest of them are riding on the coattails.
Right. Yeah.
They're like-minded. They vote the same way. They go to the gun shows. They go to the shooting matches. They do the stuff. They just don't spend the money for the membership on the.
Well, and in some cases they don't spend the money for the membership, but they spend the money in other ways. I mean, so though my husband doesn't have a life membership, we as a family are upping our benefit levels. But no, folks, my thing is I'm a problem solver that uses facts, and so I believe that there are facts out there that I want to know. And then we'll talk about it from there. But I'm open to questions. I'll try to answer them.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a Range Master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3 and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Okay, so we are back, and so let's see. I'm reading some of the comments that come in via the TV show, and so it says we focus a lot on what is next and the new advocates, to the peril of our traditions and firearm heritage, which is valid, diverse, useful, and interesting. Yeah, I agree with that. I really do. So we need to be going forward while keeping our past. It's not easy, but it has value. And you're right. You have to know what's in the rearview mirror at the same time. Have an idea of where you're going. And I think that's a piece of it. And so I'm not sure that the NRA gets it in this aspect. But when they get an Amanda, they get a Rob and Amanda team. So there's a spot where
it's funny because a lot of people have one discipline. This is what they do. They're trap shooters, or they're pistol shooters, or they're rifle shooters, or they're muzzle loaders, or something, or they're just hunters in one form or another, whether it's birds or small game or large game. And a lot of times they kind of get caught up in that, and they don't pay attention to the rest of the stuff. And so sometimes we leave the 50 caliber shooters out, or the black powder guys out, because we don't think that that's a very popular edge of the game. But in reality, we're all in it together, whether we're shooting 1850 muzzle loaders or the newest, latest fiberglass and stainless steel assault style rifle that they sell on the market that you can get your hands on. So I guess we're all 2A nerds. We pay attention.
Oh my God, we are. So there's that. So I want to roll through a couple of the comments that just came up. So one of them was that there's a lot of egg tossing going on, And so right now, so many people are saying that Wayne is the problem. And I'm really not going to comment on that, because I believe that the board knows more. The people inside the board know more than the people outside the board. And I want to hear what they see or know or see. And I have to admit that what is being said does not look good. And so those things need to be addressed. But I want to be able to make sure that you have a good hearing on all of it before you formulate an opinion. But keep in mind that right now the NRA is going through a divorce. Well, they've got an attack from the New York Attorney General, and they just divorced their PR firm. Long time, 40-year PR firm. So that actually killed NRA TV. It killed Dana Lash and Cam Edwards and Grant Stinchfield and all of those names and faces of people that you know and trust. They all went away as part of the divorce, if you will. So there's a lot of other moving pieces that are in the background, and I don't know that it is as simple as saying one thing is the problem. But
and I think some
of those things are the problem as you see them.
If you have a ship that's in a big storm, do you throw the captain out and try to put somebody else in charge in the middle of that, or do you wait till the end? Do you? That's things. So there's a lot of things that we may not know, and after listening to some of the stuff with lawsuits and how things work, I'm seeing that I think they're might be waiting for the waters to calm a little before they start to
once again
tearing things apart internally.
I want to see what I think that I want to see what other people know. I mean, I've been reading a lot of stuff. I've been asking a lot of questions. People have come up and volunteered information, and I just want to say to all y'all that I am an information-based problem solver who gathers data and doesn't. I mean, my engineering career has not allowed me to say, okay, I've made up my mind and this is it. It is, you're always correcting course, whatever that course is, given the new information of the day. And so I sincerely hope I have an opportunity to get that new information so that this 150-year organization doesn't get tossed out with the bathwater. And there's stuff that it is really done well. And I think Bruin is an example of that. I mean, because the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association is tied closely with the NRA.
We're watching Bruin. If you look in the court cases, you're seeing magazine bans are going away. There's different age limits are being dropped. There's assault weapons bans are being taken off.
Let's talk a little bit about we put Val from GOA. He's a Pennsylvania guy. His name's Val. Dr. Val begins with an F. Sorry, it's escaped me. He was on the panel. Alan Gottlieb was on the panel, and I was on the panel, and Charlie Cook was leading it. And we're talking about the impact of Bruin. But the interesting piece is that there's all these organizations. Some of them are for profit. Some of them are not for profit. And that is that. You can watch that under the Rod of Iron, under Twitch, and it's directly after the fashion show. So when you find the fashion show one, it's labeled the fashion show. That's the last segment in that segment. But you get to hear pieces of it. One of the things that Alan Gottlieb said that made so much sense, that because I've been looking at it, you've been looking at it, we've been talking about how Bruin has this big overall umbrella, and Alan's like, look, what we need to do is we need to shore up each little piece and gain the ground we can gain. And while we're doing that, we're pulling the underpinnings of
every win they need to back those wins up to make sure that they're strong.
It's Val Finnell, Finnell, and so it's kind of, you've got your house and it's on a foundation, and all of a sudden this case or that case is digging a scoop of sand or
groundhog back underneath that.
Right. And so that ground is then gained for us. And so that's a piece of what Alan said that made so much sense.
You can see this is going long term, but also too they're running a blockade game to where they're trying. You can see New York City mayor had passed a whole bunch of new laws and safe spots and stuff like this. So I just seen that the courts have blocked that so that she can't do that right now. So as to how long they can hold her off or what until it gets back into the courts to see. But part of that where they're taking your social media page and holding it against you as part of your buying a gun or getting a concealed carry permit.
I'm going to have to have 2 pages, and they're going to get sick of cat videos.
But they're supposed to. They're saying that that's unconstitutional. That they can't hold your cat videos against you.
They can't. My little cat video. The cat. The cat with the machine gun. That one. That probably would get their attention. Probably. It probably would violate so many different levels of.
Or the one with the monkey with the machine gun. No matter how responsible the monkey seems, don't give him your gun.
Right. There is that one. I watched that video, and it's a real video. I don't understand. Why did they give the monkey the machine gun?
I don't know. I'm smarter than that.
There's gun safety. Have you guys ever interacted with a monkey? They're all jerks to begin with, and guns, they're not above biting you, so they're probably not above shooting you. Just saying, just so many levels of saying. So I want to move on to something else today. Kelly Pigeon from Armed and Feminine. If you know her, you know her. She cracks you up. She's a Pennsylvania staple. There's no doubt about it. But Armed and Feminine has got a video, and her words are she's never found a microphone she doesn't like. Right. So she's doing a whole video on holstering. And so it too is going to be, they had to load it. I think they have to do something a little different with it. But it too will be on Twitch. But we were doing about holstering and Weech holsters and all of that type of stuff. And then we added purses to it. So we added some stuff to it. The way that she puts stuff together about what you want to aim your gun at, what you don't want to aim your gun at, what she names the body parts that you're not aiming your gun at,
It's showing you how your hand works and fingers and keeping your fingers out of the trigger guard. It's
really, if you're an instructor and you don't watch other instructors work, you're missing an opportunity, because you're sitting in the back and you're watching their turn of phrase and the way they do stuff and their energy. And I find that really
sometimes they compare it to something that actually you can see in your mind really well. So
no, it's not an analogy. It's not they're saying, is that monkey an analogy about Alec Baldwin? No, there's actually a video with a long gun, machine gun of some sort that
they give them like an AK-47 to a chimpanzee.
Yeah.
And they're all like sitting, it must be in South Africa or something. They're sitting around a fire and they give the chimpanzee the AK-47. And the next thing you know, everybody's scrambling because the monkey's letting fly with the pew-pew.
Right. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. But it's not an analogy. It's really real. But watch instructors. I just watch how they instruct. And then, so I'm sitting in the back of the room and it was like, oh, I would use this word instead of that word. Oh, that's good. I'm taking that. And so
nobody you can't learn something from. You watch them go, and even if I've been to some instructors that really weren't teaching me anything.
They're not teaching you anything, but at the same time, they're teaching you
in the middle of something,
things.
All of a sudden, it's like, that part actually made sense to me.
I'm going to pull this out.
I pulled this piece out. But
sometimes they're teaching you what not to teach, or how not to teach it, or how not to look at it, or how not to be. And other times they're like, look, that's a really good thing. Look at what they just said, how they said it, and how the audience picked up on it.
Yep. And the rest of the time, it's like, I'm not going to get my 8 hours of life back from that.
Rob and I took a class one time where a guy was trying to teach me how to do the combat crouch. And when I asked him, where do I put my butt? He, where was my center of balance?
He was kind of lost.
He was done. He couldn't answer. Yeah. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Okay, so we are back. Rob was learning a lesson, and that is that we were trying to take a selfie of us in the little tiny little corner here, and he's trying to hold his hand out doing it, and you cannot push a smartphone button with a fingernail, and he couldn't get the pad of his finger to it.
My hand doesn't bend that way, so
it was pretty.
It was funny. I was doing an appraisal fair here at Rod of Iron, and people bring in all kinds of stuff. I love it when they bring in a gun that's 60, 70, 80 years old. They pull it out of a old brown paper bag, and here it's a mint conditions. Looks like it just was made out of at the factory yesterday and stuff. It's like, did you ever shoot this at all?
Right. Well, it's funny because the one gun you were like, this is amazing, and the other one you're like, this is a gun, right? I mean, that has to sort of like be like, oh, he's riding a high, and then the wave crumbles and he crashes.
The thing is, you can't always have every winner, but that's the thing is, some of them come through and they have like an old Mauser that their uncle bought back from the war or something, and they're thinking it's a dud. It's like some kind of junker, and then you tell them it's worth a couple $1,000, and they're like, "You got to be out of your mind."
You're out of your mind. It looks like I rode it around on a fence, right?
You never know what you're going to have, and it doesn't have to be shiny and new and pretty to be special.
We were having that conversation with a friend of ours that we know that owns a Gyrojet, and that gun is so unique and so different. But his is in such poor condition that I do the standard drill that says it's got an honest face. Whatever happened to it, happened to it. It earned all those scars legitimately.
His was some kind of a presentation gun. I think his dad was part of the original
was a stock
investors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so he got it's a gold-plated 13mm Gyrojet. It came in a wooden box with a couple of rounds of ammo and stuff. Since then, the ammo is long gone. I think he actually gave it away as gifts years ago. Because he always talks about he wants to shoot it. When he sees what bullets cost, he's not so excited about
shooting it. But he's like, the finish is so bad, I should have it refinished. And I'm like, don't do it. And Rob's like, it won't hurt the value at all for you to do it because nobody else has one.
Out there, so.
Whatever shape it is in is the shape it is in, and you can do whatever you want to it.
It's a weird gun because in the 50s everything was going to the space age or the rockets, and this gun used a solid rocket fuel in it, basically gunpowder, gun cotton, and they would they hit the front of the bullet to drive it back on the primer to light off the jet fuel, mm-hmm. and then it would take off out of the barrel, and the farther it went, the faster it got going, and the orifices in the back of the bullet caused it to spin. There was no rifling in the gun, mm-hmm. and so up close it was somewhat accurate. The farther out it got, the farther away from the target it got.
It was like the little bird could go anywhere it wanted to go.
They tried to get the Army to buy a contract for it, and the Army said if you were close enough to hit somebody, it wasn't going fast enough to hurt them. And if you were out far enough to hurt them, you couldn't hit them. So, right. But they did buy some of these for flare guns in the Vietnam era. So I would say early 60s they had. So they use a lot of them in Vietnam as flare guns.
So I want to tell the museum story of the Gyrojet because I think this is hysterically funny. So this friend of ours, Rob and I were going to try to do some kind of a little show. You know, we've got this concept because, you know, as you hear Rob, he's such a brainiac with guns that maybe there's something we can do. So we picked out a couple unique guns that our friends had and said we're going to film a little bit with them and do a little bit of its history and do some stuff. So Rob knows all this stuff. I was just kind of hanging around beside him, being Vanna White, going, "Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that." Right? That was my whole role in this, is to be an animated dummy, and so we were doing that. And then right after that, I ended up in Virginia at the NRA Museum, and they told me to ask for so and so, and I don't remember the guy's name now. He would give me a tour. And that to be sure to ask what's in his pocket. That's always a loaded question, but be sure to ask what's in his pocket. So I go through he starts on the tour and we're looking, and I have a couple of my girlfriends with me. They're all gun people. And so we're looking at this thing and we're looking at that thing. And there's these movie guns and movie posters and this and that. And we get to a section and it's got a Gyrojet. And I come around the corner. I was like, look. There's a Gyrojet. Look at this, girls. And I explained to them the whole thing of how it works and how the rocket fuel and all of this stuff. And the guy walks up and he's like, "You know about Gyrojets?" And I was like, "Yeah, we were playing with one last week." And he's like, "You were playing with one last week?" And I said, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh." And I said, "Oh, by the way, we were supposed to ask you what's in your pocket." And he's like, "A Gyrojet bullet," right? So his magic that he would enthrall everybody at the museum with was a Gyrojet bullet, and here I am, and he's like, I can't believe that this chick knows what a Gyrojet is.
You know, it was funny when they built that round originally, but in the late 50s, early 60s, that the orifices are at like 15-degree angle in the back, and there's some of them were 4-jet and some were 2-jet bullets.
Okay.
And they had a hard time putting those holes in there at that angle and that size of hole. Today, it's a piece of cake to do that, but at that time, they had tried every kind of different machining method and everything, and that was the most expensive part of it. That was one of the reasons why it was a big failure with the general public, is that the ammo was so expensive and hard to make.
Because they had to make these
And
holes.
now today they could hammer that out by the.
I know that by you and me. Well, I hesitate to say how many years ago we went to. We were both in machine shop and took drill sharpening school, but I cannot even imagine trying to sharpen a 15 thousandths drill. Just not, guys. So, can you see it, let alone sharpen it? So, yes. That's the part that sticks in my head. It's like, there's a talent there that I do not
I think
have.
you just throw those away and buy more. They're only at like $1.50 a piece. So
Right, but you're not going to get many holes because you can't even put any pressure to drill the hole because you're going to bend it in half.
Today with the CNC equipment
It's all
and
magical.
stuff like this,
They know.
Right? They can do a lot of things that the average person doesn't have the feel or the speed. That's one thing too. The old machines just wouldn't run fast enough to run a really small drill like that. Where some of the new machines can do that without a problem. And
Right. Yeah, that new machine can wind itself up and take off for the moon, right? I mean, it's that fast.
There's some of the stuff now that they have lasers and water jets and stuff like this that could do it without even any type of cutting tool. They just
I know
use
the little laser. Wouldn't that be cool?
right.
There you go.
So if you're making rocket bullets with a laser, how cool is that? Right?
I know, and then you put the powder in. You do not put the powder in first with the laser bullet. The laser, no. We've come so far with technology on some of that stuff. Have you watched the laser guys put a finish on a gun? I mean, now they do the laser engraving and it's all this, but some of it is just so, people are so artsy, and then you take that art and you combine it with technology, and when you're done, you've got something that is so amazing.
Right, and you can buy these little kits and burn that on at home. Pretty much, it's kind of amazing what's available to it.
I know it, but nobody wants a stick figure burnt in with a laser because that's about all I can draw. And so it'd be that little guy with a stick going, move, jump. That would be it.
Some of it now, because of software, the computer, you can just load a photograph in, and you don't have to be artsy. You just have to know which button to push.
Yeah, I'm not artsy at all. I have in my mind, there's things that we should have, but in reality, that's not.
They give you a crayon dull one at that.
Exactly. They're not even going to give me the sharpener because they think I might stick my finger
Well,
in
it's
it.
funny. One day we were working at the house on one of our houses we work on, and she took my pencil and it was too long to get in the hole, so she just snaps it in half like a heathen. I'm like, "What'd you just do to my pencil?"
I was like, "It won't fit," and he's like, "But that was my pencil." I was like, "I needed a shorter pencil," and that was my solution.
And I had 2 golf pencils after that.
He was not happy. We'll see you next week.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. Realize FAC